This is just a little overview of how you can go back and quickly either print or have the exported results sent to a spreadsheet where you can go through the responses instead of either responding via text or going into your email. A lot of times, if you've listed your cell phone number in the auto message that goes out, they have your text number to your actual cell phone so they can reply directly back. But that's great. That's what obviously what you should be trying to do. I always try to get them into a direct conversation, whether that be even just via text or a phone call. To get it offline makes it a lot more real to them. But in general, you sent the blast out. They're likely sending, responses back, and those are always directed towards whatever email of choice you have on file. If you're setting that up with a recruiter or you're taking them yourself, your emails, basically fills up with the responses. But then when you're wanting to like go back and say, okay, well, this guy didn't work out, let me go and follow up with one from the other day, it can be difficult figuring out which one was which, etc. So in order to get them like in one spot so you can like really put your finger on the ones that you're wanting to call, particularly if you've done a very large blast, and there's, let's say, 25, 35, 100 responses, you want to be able to sit back and go, okay, this one is highly ideal. He's responding in a way that I really, I'm interested in. So you want to be able to see those quickly. And so this is a way that you can do that. I also will do this for a team of recruiters if we've initially done a blast for a project and it's been like 2 days, typically about 48 hours, when the responses have stopped kind of trickling in, because a lot of guys will get the message and they'll reply the next morning or the next evening or later that day. They'll even still trickle in. You might even still see those auto response emails coming in up to weeks or even months later. But at the end of the day, there's always that initial rush. And so 48 hours in is kind of the general rule of thumb. I will usually go in if I have not staffed up at that point, and then create one of these exports. That way I can have that spreadsheet and can give that to a recruiter and say, hey, look down through here, anybody that responded positively or they requested more information or whatever, will you please call them for me? And it makes it a little easier to kind of keep up with everything. So how you do that is you go into your call hub, you will click on campaigns, and what you're doing is you're trying to find or locate an older campaign that basically, is somewhere in your list here. In this particular case, I'm just going to go with the second one here. This is actually for a client that we just did a blast for, which, by the way, you're going to see something else that I'm going to do here in just a minute to help your whatever you have in your system. Money wise, it'll pause it at certain points if it thinks you're going to go over. So I can show you guys how to do an auto charge on your card once it gets to a certain amount. It makes it a lot easier so you don't hit the go button and then wonder why nothing's happening. Anyway, so here's a campaign we did with about 6,000 phone numbers. Obviously, that's a lot. So it's a pretty big list. And what you can do is you can come in here to a summary if you're ever just like going to copy and paste another text and you want it to be the same message. This is a great way to do it instead of having to retype it, particularly if you've taken all that time to go and retype the whole thing. But then you can also just go and hit results. And so results is where like you literally could just come in here and just scroll through these and go page by page. But it takes a while, right? So it's like tedious and there's really no uniform way of doing it, and it's very difficult to figure out where you're at. So what you can do is a couple things. One, you can create a phone book out of these, but really I want to see the results. So the people who said, hey, stop texting me, leave me alone, and versus the people that said, how much does it pay or when does the job start? I can see all that if I just export the data. So what I'll do here is I want to export all results, and it's literally doing just that. And so by exporting the data here, it's going to produce me a spreadsheet, Excel, that is shareable. It will give me the corresponding results to said campaign. It'll show me who was interested, who wasn't, and it makes it really, really easy to follow up with and keep notes updated right there on the spreadsheet if necessary for multiple managers or project managers to review to see kind of what's going on with with people that are just applying, or in this case, client was really looking at trying to get another order together from the same type of worker. So to kind of dually attack this thing, in addition to new fresh ads, what we did was we went in and created a smaller budget for a smaller list, number one. We didn't want to send 6,000 for 5 people; it'd be overkill. So we isolated about 2,000 on the list. I think it actually ended up being around 1,600. And we went ahead and did a blast, copied and pasted the old ad like we just showed you, and sent it out. But then we're also going to go in here and we're obviously going to export the results from the previous text, just so the ones that didn't get selected last time or may not answer the phone, or maybe they didn't answer back when they were responded to about that particular opportunity, when really it was the same message. So if they had a list of 6,000 people and there was 55 responses a month ago or last year, even those responses can be critical, because you can go back in, review them, find out who gave positive feedback, who was responding, who was engaging, and it might be the fastest way for you to get the result you're seeking, which is obviously to be staffed up. So the new campaign is one way. The exporting of old result data and going back through those responses is another good way. And then obviously just running new campaigns in general, and then utilizing just recruiting and some of the things that you guys learn on how to master the art of it when it comes to whatever it is that you do. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, obviously text me whenever you need me. Have a good day.